Hey everyone, this is Blackjack Hacker here and welcome to a brand new video. So today I'm going to show you exactly step by step how to get rich in the casino because there's an actual proven strategy that can make you loads of profits. So stay tuned for that. So how exactly do you get rich in the casino? Well, it's really simple. First of all, you need to play a game that allows you to gain an edge over the casino. And these type of games are usually card games because card games are the ones that allow you to beat the casino because of what happens in the past in these games actually affects what happens in the future. So let's just take an example with the Blackjack game. Let's say you're playing at a one deck Blackjack game and let's say the first 4 cards that are dealt are all 9s. Now what are the chances on the next hand of the dealer dealing you a 9? Well, it's pretty much 0% because remember that in a deck of Blackjack, there's a maximum of 4 9s, right? So that means what happened in the past affects what happens in the future because you can now predict that in the future, there's not going to be any more 9s that are going to be dealt. So that can gain you an advantage in a certain way. And I'm going to explain to you how to utilize that advantage later in the video. But let's just compare this with another game that is not a card game, okay? Let's just take roulette, for example. Roulette, let's say it has hit 4 black colors, 4 black numbers in a row, okay? Well, what are the chances of hitting a red, okay? Well, it still stays the same with this game because remember that even though the last 4 numbers were all blacks that came out, it still doesn't mean that it has more chances of hitting a red because every single spin is random and there's always a 50-50% chance of hitting either a red or black color in roulette, okay? So that's why you cannot gain an advantage on games like that, no matter what your strategy is. So what is actually the best casino game to play to get rich? Well, in my opinion, it's Blackjack because it's the best and easiest game to become rich and gain an edge over the casino. Now, how do you actually beat the casino playing Blackjack? It's really simple. You need to apply a strategy called card counting, okay? And card counting is actually a system that allows players to know when the advantage is in their favor to beat the casino, and players will place big bets when they have the advantage and they will place small bets when they do not have the advantage. So it's really logical, guys. You want to bet big when you know you have more chances of winning, and you want to bet really small when you have more chances of losing, and that's how you can make a lot of profits with this system. And that's why we call players who use card counting as a system, we call them advantage players and not gamblers, because gamblers are usually people who are just going to randomly find a random strategy and try to win tons of money. But advantage players are known as people who want to take advantage of the casino and actually make loads of profits from the casino. So how exactly does card counting work? Okay, it's really simple. All you need to do is to keep track of something called the running count throughout the shoe, and each card has a value for the running count. So all the high cards such as ace, king, queen, jack, and 10, you're going to add a -1 value to the running count. Every time you see a 7, 8, or 9, you're going to add 0 to your running count, and every time you see a low card such as 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you're going to add a +1 to the running count, okay? And reason why these all have different values is because high cards are really good for the players to have. Neutral cards such as 7, 8, and 9 are as good for the player and dealer to have, and low cards are not good for the player to have. So why exactly would the high cards be good for the players? Well, I explain why. Because high cards allow you to get a lot of blackjacks, and remember that in this game, when a player does get a blackjack, he gets paid 3-2. Okay, so you get paid extra every time you get a blackjack. But if a dealer gets a blackjack, he does not get extra from you. He only gets your initial bet if he beats you with blackjack. Okay, so that's why you make more money when you get blackjack from the casino. And also these high cards allow you to win most of your double downs, because remember, let's say you, for example, you have 2 5s versus a dealer's 9 up card. Well, that's a 10 versus 9, so usually you're recommended to double down on that type of hand. And if the deck is rich in high cards, you know that your double down is most likely going to be a high card that's going to come out, and you're going to get, 20 or even 21 in most of the cases, and that will make you win most of your double downs and make it way more profitable. And let's take, for example, the low cards, why they're not good for us to have is because they represent busting hands. So for example, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, you know, that means these represent a lot of bad hands such as 16, 15, 13, you know, all these bad hands that will make you eventually bust most of the time or just give you really bad starting hands. And it's just not good to have these type of cards because they will never be in your advantage. Alright guys, so it may seem a bit complicated when I explain it like this, so I'm going to go on the whiteboard and explain to you exactly how to actually apply the system if you were to play online or in real life casinos. Alright guys, so I'm on the whiteboard right now and this is actually a screenshot of an online casino. So as you can see right over here, the tray is empty, and this is one important rule, okay, you need to take into consideration when you're counting cards. Always make sure it's the first hand of the shoe or else it won't work, okay? So you need to make sure it's a brand new shoe and the dealer shuffled a brand new shoe, okay? So as you can see, it's the first hand. So over here we have 5 cards. So what would you do if you were counting cards? Well, you check the first 2 cards over here. So the first card is an ace. An ace is considered as a high card, so you add -1 to the count, right? A 2 then we have over here is a low card, so we add +1 to the count. So right now your total count is a 0, right? Really simple math because you do -1 + 1, which equals to 0. Now let's check the 2 other cards. So this card over here is a 6. So a 6 is a low card, so you add +1 to the count. And a 9 is considered as a neutral card, so it's 0 to the count. So now your total running count would be +1, right guys? Because remember, after the first 2 cards, it was at 0, and now you added a +1 because there was an extra low card. And over here, the last card is a 7, so this is a value of 0. So your total running count stays at +1 for the first 5 cards, right? Simple math. And this is just the basic of card counting, and I'll actually explain now what the other procedures to apply when you are counting cards. So when exactly do you get the edge when you're counting cards? It's really simple. You start getting the edge as soon as the true count is equal at +2 or better, okay? So what exactly is the true count? The true count is the running count divided by the number of decks remaining, okay? So really simple. I'm just gonna go back to the whiteboard and show you guys how it's done. All right, so as you can see guys over here, after the first 5 cards, it ended at a +1 running count, okay? So how to calculate the true count? You actually do the running count, which is 1 divided by the number of decks remaining. And in this case, in online casinos, there's around 8 decks. And as you know, this is the first hand of the shoe, so there's still around 8 decks remaining. And 1 divided by 8, that equals like to 0 point something. So it's really, really not close of even being a +2 true count. But you'll see that as further you go into the shoe, there's less decks that are going to be remaining, and your count is going to be better and better. So it's usually near the end of the shoe that you're going to get good true counts to actually bet a lot more and actually make profitable bets, okay? It's really rare you're going to get a good true count in the first hand of the shoe. So this over here is the true count chart. So basically, every time the true count increases by 1, you gain a 0.5% advantage every time, okay, over the casino. So that is why as soon as you have a true count of +2, you should increase your bet because you're at a 0.5% advantage. And reason why is because, for example, when you start a fresh new deck, the true count is at 0, and when you start a fresh new deck, you know that the initial edge of the casino in this game is around 0.5%. So that means that a true count of +1, now the game goes to -0.5% to 0% edge. Then at a true count of +2, it goes 0.5% in your favor. Then at a true count of +3, 1% in your favor. Then at a true count of +4, 1.5% in your favor. And it just goes on as the true count increases. And as you can see on screen right now, literally, if you can obtain like high true counts like 13, 14, you can literally get like up to a 10% edge, which is absolutely crazy. Okay, that is an insane advantage over the casino. Okay, guys, this is why this system is so profitable. Now, another important rule to apply when card counting, because or else this will not work and you will never become rich from the casino, is to learn basic strategy. Any player in playing blackjack needs to learn this by heart. Okay, this is actually a chart that tells you exactly the best and optimal ways to play on depending on every hand you have versus the dealers. For example, on screen, let's say you have a 12 versus a dealer's 2 up card. Well, it recommends you to hit. If you have an 11 versus a dealer's 9, it recommends you to double down. Okay, if you have 2 7s versus a dealer's 3, it tells you to split. So it basically tells you the most optimal way to play to decrease the casino edge, and this allows you, if you combine this with card counting, this what allows you to actually beat the casino and become rich. So when exactly do you leave the blackjack table? I recommend to leave the table when the true count is at -2 or lower, because you know, when you're at a true count of like -2, -3, -4, it's really hard to come back up and try to go back at least to up to +2 true count. It's just not worth your time. You're just losing money, and it's never, usually when it's at already a really bad true count, it's really rare that it's gonna go back up to a +2 true count, okay, near the end of the shoe. So that's why I like to leave, because the edge is already a big like the edge is already too much in the casino's favor when it's at least at -2 true count. So that's why I usually leave the table. Or you can also leave the table when you're satisfied with your profits, okay? Some people like to set goals like, oh, okay, if I make $1,000 in a day, I'll leave the table. Or some people just like to play for like a certain amount of time. So let's say no matter what profits I have, after like 3-4 hours, I would leave the table, okay? So depending on your system, okay, just leave at a time where you're satisfied with your profits, okay, guys? Also, a really important rule is card counting bet spreads. You need to learn perfect bet spreads to make your card counting work, because as you know, as card counters, we bet big when we have the advantage, and we bet really small when we don't have the advantage. And this is how it makes it profitable, because we're betting on some good opportunities, and we're barely betting anything on some really bad opportunities. So basically, a great example of a lot of card counters use, and I personally use, is the 1-to-8 bet spread. So basically, you should bet 1 unit. So let's just say our unit is $10, guys. So you should actually bet $10 at a true count of +1 or lower. You should bet 2 units, which is $20 at a true count of +2. You should bet 40 units, which is $40 at a true count of +3, and 8 units, which means $80 at a true count of +4 or higher. Okay. So that's really that simple, okay? And if you learn these bet spreads and you you bet accurately depending on what the true count is, it's really going to become profitable. And last but not least, the last important rule to become rich in a casino and apply the strategy is to practice before actually going inside the casinos, because it's not like really easy. It takes a lot of practice to actually become a master of card counting and then apply it and become rich from the casinos. So before you go into your local casino, I really recommend to practice at home and master card counting skills by carrying a deck with you. You can literally buy a deck at Walmart or at the dollar store, and all you need to do is to take the deck and count that entire deck. So shuffle the deck, then flip the first card, and depending on what the first card is, you start counting cards. So for example, you flip the first card, and let's say it's a low card, so now the count is -1. Then you flip the other card and see what the count is after that, and just continuously flip card after card and try to count the whole deck in a matter of a minute. Like literally under a minute is usually recommended, because this shows that you are fast enough to count the cards. And usually if done correctly, the count at the end of the deck will come out to 0, because as you know, there's as many low cards than high cards in a deck of blackjack. So that's why your count should always end up at 0. Alright guys, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. This was how to become rich in a casino. I will make sure to stay tuned and stay subscribed, because I will be uploading more tips and tricks related to this. So yeah guys, hopefully you enjoy, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.